everybody, I'm Joey Paul and I'm an indie author and welcome back to my channel. I write young adult fiction across a variety of genres, and if you think that might interest you, then think about subscribing below. I also have a copy shop with signed paperbacks and swag, which you can also find below. So I thought today that we would talk about finishing projects. Sometimes the focus on Authortube is less on finishing projects and more on adding new ideas to your load. I thought that today I would reflect on some of the good things that come when you actually sit down, find your voice, and are able to finish something. Personally, earlier on in my writing career, I always struggled to finish something because I would get distracted or bored or just want to be writing something new. So when I say that these tips help me, I genuinely mean that. Number 1, seeing it through breeds creativity. I've now drafted over 45 books. I can promise you that some of them got to the point where the inspiration left me. I'll touch on that more in a moment, but my point is that every single time, the moment I got close to the end, I also got hit with a bunch of more ideas. I think it's down to the fact that while in the midst of a project, your focus should be that, but it also allows your brain to think up new and interesting things to do next time. I've said before that once I get near the end of a project, I always worry that I'll have no more new ideas ever again. And yet, the moment I start on the last 10 chapters, a whole bunch of ideas pop up just to annoy me. I know it's not just a me thing. I've asked other authors and they've had the same thing happen to them. So the act of sitting down and writing a project through to the end can actually help you in the long term. After all, if all you've got are beginning chapters with all your projects, you might not realize that you do have the skill and talent to keep going and have middle chapters, end ones, and then burst forth with a bunch of brand new ideas. When I was first published in 2005, I was sure I would only write 10 books, and I kind of cheated because I knew what 5 of them were going to be going into it. When I hit 10, I knew I had more ideas, so I raised it to 20. And, well, you get the picture. The more you finish, the more fertile your creativity is going to be because, you can actually finish something rather than leave it languishing in a drawer somewhere. So if you're tempted to let it sit by the wayside and start something new, realize you could be growing as a writer more if you keep finishing. Number 2. The high of finishing is amazing. I've talked about this before. There is a natural high that comes from finishing a project. I get it when I finish the first draft, when I finish revisions, when I finish edits, when the book is published. It can be overwhelming because it hits me hard at times. But I've also not found anything that brings me as much joy as knowing that I finished something, that it's out there in the wild or ready to move on to the next stage. Now, I don't mean that I don't get anxious about editing or revisions or publishing. I do, very much so. But I also get this feeling of accomplishment, and it's a nice way to wind down on release day and bask in that feeling. Number 3, there is no time limit. I know sometimes people will feel like that because a project has taken them X amount of time, they shouldn't finish it because it'll be bad or something. There is no time limit on drafting, editing, publishing. You take the time you need, and anyone saying otherwise is very much wrong. Of course, you can set yourself deadlines, but you don't have to be strict with yourself unless you know that's how you work. Personally, I need some kind of deadline, especially when it comes to revisions and edits. But I also don't try and do both in a very small amount of time. I know how I work, I know what I can manage, and because of that, I know what a good amount of time this takes for me to do the thing. Just remember that it takes as long as it takes, and that's okay. There is no time limit, and you've got to do what works for you. And number 4, dedication, not inspiration. I mentioned about inspiration leaving while in the midst of a first draft. I'm here to tell you that that happens to absolutely everyone. Unless they're writing maybe a short story, novella, or something that doesn't take them long, inspiration always leaves, simply because it can't be sustained over a long period of time. So don't think that because your inspiration has headed off that you can never finish this project. That's where dedication comes in. Dedication is what gets the book written. Dedication is what puts you at your desk or wherever and keeps you writing. So don't worry so much about having no inspiration, and grab that dedication and get moving. So there we go. Those are things that I found have helped me to think about when I'm coming to the point where I'm thinking, shall I finish this draft or shall I move on to something brand new? While there is obviously going to be times when books don't work genuinely for you, and it's not a case of not wanting to finish but not being able to, like at all ever, there is also a lot of times when the shiny new idea pops up and people get distracted and they want to finish that first project, but it creates a cycle of getting to a certain point, getting a new idea, moving on to the new idea, getting to a certain point, you get the picture. So yeah, those are some things for you to think about. And now I have to see if I remember my outro because it's been a while. So that's all I've got time for today. If you want to support my channel, you can comment, like, or subscribe. I post new videos on Thursdays. You can find me all over social media, and my books are available everywhere. You can also sign up for my newsletter, and you can also support me at my Ko-fi shop. And don't forget to pick up Cramming Chronicles: The Fourth Torment, which is the fourth in a young adult urban fantasy series. All the links for which are listed below. Thanks for watching, and remember to keep writing. Bye. I won't tell you how many times I had to stop and redo that.